Hello YouTube friends and family, this is Chris with Rockin Farm. It has been forever since we've posted anything. Partially it's been because we've been so unbelievably busy, and partially because it seems like we've been doing a lot of little projects and little phases that haven't really been worth showing. But then I remembered that, you know, introducing everybody to our everyday lives and giving people the opportunity to ask questions so I can share the knowledge that I've gained and hopefully take some suggestions in that comment box down there to gain some more knowledge is what this channel is all about. So there's Fiona. Fiona, our fat pot-bellied pig. She is a very, very, very old pig, but she is also a very happy pig, as you can tell. So what have we been up to? My father-in-law and brother-in-law were just in town. They own a landscaping wholesale nursery in the Surprise, Arizona area called Sunrise Tree Farm. So they were here for a trade show down in San Antonio, but stopped by to visit. But while they were out and about, they were nice enough to buy me a few fruit trees. So these are going to be the first few fruit trees that are going to be introduced to Rockin Farm. And they also just kind of picked up some cactus, which I potted, and things of that nature. So that's all really exciting because it's nice to actually be moving towards having fruit on the farm. The guineas are out. They've been out for a few days. The dogs don't bother the guineas as far as aggressively, but it is kind of a little bit amusing that the dogs like to play the game bowling for buzzards. If y'all remember the Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa bowling for buzzards, the dogs will wait for them to group up and then they'll run into the middle of them just to watch them scatter. And then they'll wait for them to group up and then run into the middle of them to watch them scatter again. So the guineas are happy and healthy. We are missing one. I found him on the other side of our property fence on a ranch that is just so covered with briars and thickets that it can't get out and I cannot get to it. I went back there with a machete for 2 hours and could not get close enough to get to it. The chickens are doing good. Luna, leave her alone. But it looks like one got out, so I'll have to come back over here as soon as I'm done shooting this video and clip some wings. That's basically what we do, is if they get out, they get one wing clipped. It doesn't hurt them, it doesn't bother them. But there's the girls. I'm sure there's some eggs in there. I want to go show you the eggs, but I don't want to scare her off. I don't feel like chasing a chicken right now. Yeah, we definitely got one little girl outside the fence, hanging out with her sisters and her two brothers, but she's outside the fence, so I got to do a little bit of wing clipping. So I'll come back and do that. This is our irrigation line that we ran to several things, actually. Trying to do as much automation as I can. The garden, I really enjoy watering the garden by hand, to be honest with you. It's kind of peaceful and tranquil, but I definitely don't have the time to come out here and water landscaping plants or our grape vineyard or things of that nature. So while my in-laws were down at the trade show, they usually pick up a bunch of plants in Austin to show what types of things that they grow on their tree farm back in Arizona for sales here in Texas and neighboring states. And they brought the plants back for me. So I'm gonna plant all of this stuff because everything here reminds my wife of Arizona, and a happy wife makes for a happy life. The vineyard is planted. I am still going to come out with a vineyard video here soon, which is going to give you all a lot more information because I'm still not done. I still need to mulch everything in. I still need to run all the wires. I still need to start training these little grapes. But the vineyard is in. 13 black Spanish grapes. It's a good wine grape. It is a good jelly grape. From what I understand, it tastes really good too, but it's small, has kind of a tough skin, and has it's pretty seedy, so it's not the best for just like table eating or whatever, even though it tastes good. And down here I've got 1, 2 black turkey figs, and we're going to run a fig orchard. You can see that black line running in there. We're going to run a fig orchard all the way up to the gate. So very soon here we'll have figs, grapes, apples, apricots, And you know, we're just trying to improve the land as we go. Our creek is running very, very low because this is our dry season, but our creek is full of little fish. That's exciting. The land is doing very well. It's still relatively green considering the fact that it's been so dry and we've had so little moisture. The garden is on the other side of the property and I'm already tired, so that is going to have to wait a little bit. There's my orange flag marking where the landscapers are supposed to drop the wood chips. If any of them would take advantage of the fact that I am giving them 3.5 acres to drop their wood chips and logs on at no cost to them whatsoever. Hint, hint. If you're a landscaper or an arborist in Central Texas, hit me up because I need wood chips. I think it's been a while. If I've ever taken y'all for a property walk, it's definitely been a while. These are wild muscadine grapes. They are not producing worth a darn. And I think it's because this is just a very unhealthy, unproductive vine. So what I'll do is this winter, I'll cut it way back. I'll give it one more chance next year. If that doesn't work, then up there on the front of the property near the gate, I have a very, very productive wild muscadine grape. So I'll take some cuttings and propagate some new grapevines off of that grape and plant those around the property, since that one is obviously very healthy and very hardy. It's our little wild sunflower. I've got these coming up all over the property right now and they just keep on producing flowers and keep on seeding. They still got little buds coming out. And this is a new garden bed that I'm installing for my wife. It was located somewhere else on the property that made no sense. So I'm going to fill this up with soil from the barn because I've got 2 stalls over in that barn that have super, super rich dirt, and I couldn't figure out why it was so rich at first, and then I started digging in on it a little bit and I realized that it was very, very, very well composted horse manure, almost 2.5 feet thick. So obviously some of the previous owners didn't do a really good job of cleaning up after the horses that they were keeping in the barn. So, but I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to scoop up all that nutrient-rich composted horse manure and fill it in that bed, and then plant a few plants in it and also plant a few herbs in it. So we're just coming back towards the house now. That's the outdoor brooder that I had the guineas in for a while. I'm going to move it so we don't have to look at it all the time, but I'm going to keep that thing set up because if we brood more chicks or if we brood more ducks, I want to get them outside as soon as possible. Y'all get to see the creek here right quick. Like I said, very, very low because it is our dry season. I know for all of our friends and family back in Arizona, it's monsoon season, but here in Texas, this is the dry season. So the reason the water looks so stinking murky is because Luna was up there splashing around in it and stirred up a bunch of silt that's starting to float down. But this is the creek that borders our property. So the guineas have learned how to drink out of it. They know where to go get water. I do not have to provide water for them anymore. They've been out eating seed heads and bugs, so I have not been putting out feed for them anymore. So if I could just get the one to figure out how to get back over the fence to its brothers and sister, it would be good. So generally the creek is clear like this. But when Luna stomps back and forth across it, she stirs it up. The dogs prefer to get a drink out of here too. They have a water bowl, they just don't use it. Some of the wild things that grow on this, that's wild creek mint. And yes, it's mint. It tastes like mint, smells like mint. I use it like mint. So it's kind of neat that there's things just growing wild on the property. I don't know who thought it would be a good idea to start being a farmer at 42, but I guess we don't get to control when our dreams start coming true. That's the well house. We got to get it up and running. Again, anybody out there in YouTube land that lives in Central Texas or knows people in Central Texas that knows somebody who knows anything about wells, I'd really like to run all of my irrigation off the well. Keep the house hooked up to the city water because water's cheap here. But if I can get all the irrigation going off of that well, then we'll be in real good shape. We've been propagating aloe vera plants. Now we're back by the garden. I lied to you. We're over here. These are our pepper plants. Got a bunch of jalapenos turning red. Those are poblanos. Took out the cantaloupe. We got about 9 big cantaloupes off of it, and they were delicious. So I saved the seeds for next year. We'll see what happens. Put in some fall tomatoes. Got the walking onion bed over there. That's what's marked out by the white strings. All of our herbs are still doing absolutely amazing. I'm going to take one more cutting off of them, and then I'm going to let them go to seed. That's our strawberries. Started out as 2 little plants in that pot. It's roughly, last time I tried to count, it's roughly 25 individual crowns now. So we're going to be pulling a lot of strawberries out there and planting them around the property next year. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're up to. We've been propagating a lot of little plants to hopefully, you know, look into getting our nursery license and get some sales going. We've been harvesting things from the garden, doing a lot of little projects here and there. Had a big scare last night with a shelf collapsed in our closet. Vases that were up there shattered. Jolted Jessica and I asleep. We were up cleaning glass at 1 o'clock in the morning. So while my project today was to get all of those landscape plants in the ground to make my wife happy, what I ended up doing today was installing a new shelf with new brackets and cutting the crap out of my arms trying to get through the briars and the thickets to get to a lost guinea hen. And so I had to call in the reinforcements and have Ayana come out and water the gardens for me and have Jessica help me water the landscape plants, and nothing that I planned on doing today got done because life is very unpredictable on Rockin 8 Farm. So, quick property walk. Just want to get some content out to everybody. You know, please take the time to make some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I can do better. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to do a big question and answer episode, but I've got to get a lot of you to ask me questions if we're going to do a question and answer episode. So I'm going to walk back around to the front of the house here. We started off this video with Fiona. If I can find Fiona again, then we'll leave the same way. Sure is a pretty piece of property. It's like living in a state park. But anyhow, that's it for now, y'all. This has been Chris with Rockin 8 Farm, and this is Fiona with Rockin 8 Farm. We want everybody to enjoy your time until we see you again. Have a good one.